The Argentine Air Force is the national aviation branch of the Armed Forces of the Argentine Republic. In 2010 it had 14,600 military personnel and 6,900 civilian personnel. History. The Air Force's history begins with the establishment of the Army Aviation Services Escuela de Aviación Militar on 10 August 1912. Several military officers were amongst the pioneers of Argentine aviation, including George Newbery, a retired Argentine Navy officer. The school began to turn out military pilots who participated in milestone events in Argentine aviation, such as the crossing of the Andes Mountains. Interwar period. In 1927 the Dirección General de Aeronáutica was created to coordinate the country's military aviation. In that same year the Fábrica Militar de Aviones, which would become the heart of the country's aviation industry, was founded in Córdoba. By 1938–39 Argentina's air power had about 3,200 staff, and maintained about 230 aircraft. About 150 of these were operated by the Army and included Duartine D-21 and Curtiss P-36 Hawk fighters, Bdarg A-19 reconnaissance planes, Northrop A-17 and Martin B-10 bombers, North American R-16 trainers, Focke-Wulf FW-58 as multi-role planes, and Junkers Ju-52 and Fairchild 82 transports. About 80 were operated by the Navy and included the Supermarine Southampton, Supermarine Walrus, Fairey Seal, Fairey 3, Vorto 2U Corsair, Consolidated P-2Y, Curtiss D-32 Condor 2, Douglas Dolphin and Grumman J-2F Duck. World War II and immediate post-war. By the 1940s there were several air units in the Army and the Navy. The first step towards an independent force came on the 11th of February 1944 with the establishment of the Aeronautical Command, which would go on to become the Argentine Air Force on the 4th of January 1945, an independent force on par with the Army and the Navy. Immediately after the end of World War II, in which the Argentine Air Force took no part, it began a process of modernization, incorporating aircraft such as the Gloster Meteor jet fighter, thus becoming the first Air Force in Latin America equipped with jet-propelled aircraft. In addition, a number of Avro Lincoln and Avro Lancaster bombers were acquired, creating a powerful strategic force in the region. The Air Force, with former Luftwaffe officers as consultants and German technicians, also began to develop its own aircraft, such as the Pulque I and Pulque II, making Argentina the first country in Latin America and the sixth in the world to develop jet fighter technology on its own. Also locally developed aircraft, like the I-A-22DL trainer and the I-A-24 Calkine tactical bomber, were added to the inventory. Antarctic support. In 1952 the Air Force began flight to supply the Antarctic scientific bases using ski-equipped C-47s and establishing Marambio Base on 25 September, 1969. On the 11th of April 1970 they began landing C-130 Hercules aircraft, when the TC-61 commanded by Commodore Arturo Athos Gandolfi was the first airplane to land in Marambio, and the Fokker F-28 Fellowship Presidential Aircraft T-01 Patagonia is reported to be the first jet to have landed at Marambio. On 28 July 1973, and since the 1970s, Twin Otters are also deployed. On October 1973 the FAA launched Operation Transanta, achieving the first transantarctic three-continental intercontinental flight in history when a C-130 flew between Rio Gallegos, Marambio, Argentine Antarctica, Christchurch, New Zealand and Canberra, Australia. Modernization and the Falklands War. In the 1960s, new aircraft were incorporated, including the F-86 Sabre fighter and the Douglas A-4 Skyhawk ground attack. During the 1970s, the Air Force re-equipped itself with modern aircraft, including Mirage 3 interceptors, II Dagger multi-role fighters, and C-130 Hercules cargo planes. A counter-insurgency airplane, the Pucara, was also used in substantial numbers. The Falklands War took a great toll on the Air Force, which lost 60 aircraft. After the war, due to the deteriorating economic situation, international opposition and political distrust of the military, the Air Force was denied the resources needed to replace the war losses. This, coupled with diminishing budgets, led to a period of reduced activity and growing materiel obsolescence. After the war, Britain imposed an arms embargo in Argentina, which was discontinued in the 1990s, but British pressure has prevented so far the acquisition of modern fighter planes and equipment from Western countries. After attempts to acquire surplus IAIKFIRs or F-16s failed for economic and political reasons, the United States military sold Argentina F-36 A-4AR Fighting Hawks, a refurbished and upgraded version of the A-4 Skyhawks used in the war. Other equipment was bought: 23 U.S. Army surplus OV-1 Mohawks, 22 ex-Israeli II Dagger, 2 C-130B and 1 Lockheed L-100-30. Support to UN peacekeeping missions. The FAA has been involved in United Nations peacekeeping missions around the world. They sent a Boeing 707 to the 1991 Gulf War. Since 1994, the UN Air Contingent in Cyprus under UNFICYP mandate is provided by the FAA, having achieved 10,000 flight hours by 2003 without any accidents. The FAA has also since 2005 deployed Bell 212 helicopters to Haiti under MANUSDAH mandate. In the 21st century, in early 2005, the top 17 brigadiers of the Air Force, including the Chief of Staff, Brigadier General Carlos Rhodes, were sacked by President Nestor Kirchner following a scandal involving drug trafficking through Ezeiza International Airport. Kirchner cited failures in the security systems of Argentine airports and cover-ups of the scandal. It later became known that many government agencies, among them the Interior Ministry, the Customs Administration and the Secretariat of State Intelligence, knew about the drug trafficking. The primary concerns of the Air Forces of 2010 are the establishment of a radar network for control of the country's airspace, the replacement of its older combat aircraft and the incorporation of new technologies, the possibility of purchasing surplus French Air Force Mirage 2000C fighters, like the option chosen by the Brazilian Air Force, has been considered. Since the 1990s, the FAA has established good relations with its neighbors, the Brazilian and Chilean Air Forces. They annually meet, on a rotation basis, in the joint exercises Cruzix in Brazil, Cabo in Argentina and Salita in Chile. In 2007, an FAA FMAIA-58 Pucara was converted to use a modified engine operating on soy-derived biojet fuel. The project, financed and directed by the Argentine government, made Argentina the second nation in the world to propel an aircraft with biojet fuel. The purpose of the project is to make the FAA less reliant on fossil fuels. 2010s. As of 2010, budgetary constraints continued, leading to the disbanding of the Boeing 707 Transport Squadron and maintenance problems for half of the C-130 Hercules fleet. This was particularly evident when, in a matter of days in March, the same C-130 aircraft could be seen, in addition to the routine missions, traveling 3 times to Haiti, 9 times to Chile, and also doing a resupply airdrop to the Argentine southernmost Antarctic base Belgrano 2. In August 2010, a contract was signed for 2 Mi-17E helicopters, plus an option on a further 3, to support Antarctic bases, although no official destination for them have been released yet, and is possible that they will be assigned to the Argentine Army Aviation. The FAA is seeking to replace its aging force with a more capable and more serviceable modern aircraft. The acquisition of Spanish Mirage F1 Megasecond IIKFIR Block 60s and Saab Gripen EFs was considered, but as of February 2015, all of those deals appear to have stalled. The Mirage F1 deal was scrapped by the Spanish government in March 2014 after pressure of the UK to not assist in FAA modernization over tensions between the countries over the Falkland Islands. The UK has also managed to veto the sale of Gripen EFs, as 30% of the Gripen's parts are manufactured there. The deal with Israel has reportedly stalled for technical and political reasons. China has reportedly offered JF-17 FC-1 a Chengdu J-10 to Argentina. The two countries have formed a working group to look into the transfer of 14 aircraft. Russia had also offered at least 12 Su-24 strike aircraft to the FAA, but Janes reported that the Su-24 wouldn't be very useful to the FAA and that it would appear that any proposed transfer of such aircraft is likely the result of Russia playing political games with the UK over the continuing crisis in Ukraine. All Mirages were officially decommissioned on the 30th of November 2015. The A4s were grounded as of January 2016 for lack of spares. In any case, only 4 to 5 were airworthy, with the rest in storage at Villa Reynolds. When Barack Obama visited in March 2016, Air Force One was accompanied by U.S. Air Force F-16s because Argentina could only offer Pucaras and Pampas for air defense. Organization. The Argentine Air Force is one of the 3 branches of the Argentine military, having equal status with the Army and the Navy. The President of Argentina is Commander-in-Chief of all 3 services. The Air Force is headed by the Chief of the General Staff, directly appointed and removed by the President. The Air Force Chief of Staff usually holds the rank of Brigadier General, the highest rank of the Air Force. The Chief of Staff is seconded by Deputy Chief of the General Staff and 3 senior officers in charge of the Air Force's 3 commands: the Air Operations Command, the Personnel Command and the Materiel Command. The Air Operations Command is the branch of the Air Force responsible for aerospace defense, air operations, planning, training, technical and logistical support of the air units. Subordinate to the Air Operations Command are the Air Brigades, the Air Force's major operative units. A total of 8 Air Brigades are currently operational. Brigades are headquartered at military air bases. Each air brigade is made up of 3 groups, each bearing the same number as the mother brigade. These groups include 1 Air Group, which operates the aircraft assigned to the brigade, The air group is divided into a variable number of air squadrons. Air groups may be named according to the primary mission. For example, an air group specialized in fighter operations receives the designation of fighter group. Currently, the Air Force includes 3 fighter groups, 1 attack group, 1 transport group, and 3 plain air groups. The 7th Air Group operates all the helicopters of the Air Force, while the 2nd includes a small reconnaissance unit as well as light transport aircraft. 9th Air Group is a light transport unit, 1 technical group in charge of the maintenance and repair of the brigade's aircraft, 1 base group responsible for the airbase itself, weather forecasting, flight control, runway maintenance, etc. Base groups also include base flights, generally made up of 2 or 3 liaison aircraft. The Personnel Command is responsible for the training, education, assignment and welfare of Air Force personnel. Under the control of the Personnel Command are the Military Aviation School, the Air Force Non-Commissioned Officer School and other educational and training units. The Materiel Command deals with planning and executing the Air Force's logistics regarding flying and ground materiel. Materiel Command includes Quilmes and Rio Cuarto materiel areas and El Palomar logistical area. Order of battle: 1st Air Brigade in El Palomar Airport, 1st Air Transport Squadron, 2nd Air Transport Squadron, 2nd Air Brigade in General Justo José de Urquiza Airport, 2nd Reconnaissance Squadron, 4th Air Transport Squadron, 3rd Air Brigade in Daniel Duque Airport, 2nd Attack Squadron, 3rd Attack Squadron, 4th Air Brigade in Governor Francisco Gabriele International Airport, 1st Training Squadron, 3rd Search and Rescue Squadron, 4th Cruz del Sur Aerobatics Squadron, Fighter School, 5th Air Brigade in Villa Reynolds Airport, 1st Fighter Bomber Squadron, 2nd Fighter Bomber Squadron, 6th Air Brigade in Tandil Airport, 1st Fighter Bomber Squadron, 2nd Fighter Bomber Squadron, 3rd Air Interceptor Squadron, 7th Air Brigade in Mariano Moreno Airport, 1st Search and Rescue Squadron, 2nd Tactical Squadron, 3rd Squadron, 4th Squadron, 9th Air Brigade in General Enrique Mosconi International Airport, 6th Air Transport Squadron, 7th Air Transport Squadron, Military Aviation School, Glider Flight Services Squadron, Mentor Squadron, Tucano Squadron, Special Operations Group, Agrupación Aérea Presidencial, Presidential Transportation Unit. Ranks. Officers. Officers wear the rank insignia in the sleeves, in the pattern depicted below. There are also shoulder boards with the same insignia for the ranks between ensign and commodore. General officers wear different shoulder boards. Non-commissioned officers and enlisted personnel aircraft. Current infantry chiefs of the Argentine Air Force.